Hello, my friends from wherever you're watching us from. Again, I want to thank you for making time to watch this channel. And for those who possibly don't know me, my name is Thomas. And again, I want to thank you for the many feedback we're getting. We want to encourage you because, like I told you before, we can only become better. In this episode, I want us to expound a little bit on responsibility. You know, there's a clip we talked about responsibility, but now I want us to look at responsibility even as it reflects on parenting. And in order to understand this, and therefore we can even have a framework for our discussion, you will allow me to share a story. In fact, it's actually a true life story. And it starts with the unfortunate death of a young woman who leaves behind two tiny little daughters. And as it would happen, then the father has to step in and begin to take care of his kids. So as time would have it, the kids, of course, over the years have grown. They are now in lower primary, and they're headed to even higher on in the learning channel, the learning ladder. However, why is it important that we're discussing this story? What has happened is that the father has failed to let go. You know, when he began and the kids were small, it was wise. It was actually the right thing to step in and begin to wash their clothes, maybe feed them, make their bed. All those things were important. And considering the kids were small, they couldn't do it, it was right. But now, many years down the road, the kids have grown. Actually, they're in rural school, where every Wednesday they join the other pupils in cleaning their classrooms. The mother to this gentleman has tried to talk to him about letting the children begin to do some of the house chores. But the man has become adamant. He wants to be a good father. And he thinks by protecting these children from doing those manual house chores, he's actually being a very good parent. Unfortunately, as you would observe, through his parenting enthusiasm, he may be actually denying his children an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to develop the skills and attitudes which they need to succeed later in life. And I'm sure you have heard of those stories of where we have adults, children, people who are married and they cannot cook ugali. And you're wondering, where did they go through? I think they could possibly have come from this kind of homes. There are others who are of marriageable age, but they can't clean their own clothes. And you're wondering, just how did it happen? And I think we need to begin to know there are two categories of parents. There are those parents we call responsible, and there are those parents we call good parents. I'll come to this later on as we go through this script. So what's happening here? You realize that you can be with your child today, but remember, this child has their own independent life. You might die today and they won't die because you have died. And at any one time, whether by death or marriage or whatever else, these children, if they are going to grow to responsible adults, they must stand on their 2 feet. They must begin to live on their own. And when they're running their homes, or when they're running their companies, or in marriages, these are some of the skills they would need. And the only place to practice is in the home. So we must begin to understand as parents that the home is a laboratory. The home is a gym. The home is a workshop. This is where these growing up children go to learn all the skills they need, the attitude they need, so that once they grow, then they can be able to comfortably stand on their feet. The other thing we need to appreciate is that the skills they learn are not just for the house, but they learn across through their lives. It will affect how they perform at work. It will affect their relationships. It will affect how they run their own homes and their businesses. Because these are basic, these are foundational skills which every human being must have. So it's unfortunate that many times we do not mean to harm these children, but in our excessive love and liking and protection, we actually disable our children. We actually deny them the opportunity to grow. So, in this script, I'm appealing to you. If you're one of these parents, please begin to understand that you cannot hope for your child to have muscles while you are the one who is doing the weightlifting. And some of the things in life have got to be experienced to be understood. How can you teach hunger to a child? They have to go through it to experience what hunger is. Doesn't matter how many words you use. The best teacher would be the experience. They're going through hunger, or getting cold, or getting wet. So this is the thing. I think I'm appealing to you to begin to understand that the best you can do for your child is to equip them for life so that they can be able to stand on their feet. In actual fact, as parents, we are challenged. There's a small bird in the home. Some people call it the road runner. It's a hen. I think you know the hen. It's a wonderful parent. The hen, while it has those small chicks, will fight dogs. It will even fly into the air to fight the kites and the hawks if they attempt to attack their kids. But you know what? It has a syllabus. And once the lessons are over, the same very protective hen turns around and begins to kick the kids and send them away. And the lessons are many. It will teach the young chicks how to bathe by getting into the soil and flapping all their wings. It will teach them how to look for the worm by scratching the floor and getting the worm. It will teach them how to keep safe by having one eye on the ground while the other one is up in the air watching for the hawk. But tell you what, once the lessons are over, once the hen is convinced that the lessons have been covered, the same very protective hen turns around and begins to peck these chicks and kick them and doesn't care. You are old enough now to go and manage your own life. And I think as parents, maybe we need to get there. I don't know how many of us have kids in the house who are 20 plus, who are still within our care. Because again, we have been so fearful that they're going out there, how shall they manage? How are they going to cook? What kind of, how are they going to be secure? But there's only one thing that you must know. Like it or not like it, a day is coming when that particular child must stand on his 2 feet. And he will be judged by how much he learned from your house. And that will be how much are you letting him do. The other aspect about the house chore is the appreciation of the many things it helps this child acquire. When they are washing their clothes, they are bonding. You bond with them. When you're demonstrating how to clean the collar of a shirt, I think you are bonding with your son. You share. And these are some of the experiences you'll need when this child becomes a bit older at teenage, when they're beginning to rebel. You need to have a bank, an emotional bank, an account where you have shared so much with this child that you actually are a friend. And one of the things that will bring you together is when you share chores. Beginning that early kindly demonstrating how a collar is washed, how a shoe is polished. It gives you an opportunity to make a team. You have all your children around with you. You have time to pray. You have time to correct them. And these skills are not lost. These are the skills and attitudes they're going to use later at work, in their marriage, and in life while dealing with other people. So, I want to challenge ourselves to begin to appreciate the opportunity we have, right? To send our children on the values, on the principles, and on the faith and things we believe in. And the only place to do that is in the home, especially when they are young and they're easy to turn around. Because in a very short while, that child is going to get out of the house. In a very short while, they're going to start to look outside. When they get to teenage, they are more concerned about their friends more than the parents. But this time you have an opportunity. If you actually take the cue and begin to plant. And we are reminded what matters in human life are the first 7 years. In those 7 years, my dear parent, you have your child. And those are the 7 years you can begin to create the foundation, the values, whatever it is that you think is important. And the child is easy to learn because there's not much competition by then. As opposed to later on in life, when there are friends, when there's the social media, and when there are all those other things now are pulling your child away from home. So do I say something in this episode? Yes. I want to let you appreciate the opportunity you have today. A huge one, where you can make a lot of difference in your child's life positively. When you allow them to wash their clothes, they begin to understand measurements. How much soap are they going to use? How do they take care of wastefulness in terms of soap and water? They begin to appreciate self-management. A Saturday is the day they wash their clothes. It's up to them. What time do they wake up? But you see, they must wake up in good time to have time to wash the clothes, hang them out on the lines, and so that they'll be dry and possibly ironed in the evening. So it's through these kind of things that you teach very profound principles of life. By just the cleaning of the shoes, you raise the standard. When they do something and they fail, they begin to experience failure. And because you are there, you begin to caution them so that they're not destroyed by failure, but rather appreciate that it's not everything that we do on the first instance that succeed. And when we fail in the first and second, possibly 3 times, it doesn't mean we are bad. We can do it over and win. So there are so many lessons. I don't know how many. In actual fact, it is a small place. It's a laboratory of life. They will begin. You think of team building. You start a team in the house. You start a team with the kids. Yeah, if you're doing something, and you know what? Children have their own clock. There'll be that one day. That small Monica will tell Mama, "Now I want to cook the egg." Yes, they have a clock. There's a time they have interest about certain things. And therefore, as parents, all we need to do is take advantage of that. When she says she wants to clean her socks, please allow her. Because if you do not, that clock will be shut off. And the opportunity will be lost. Is she going to do a very wonderful cake? No. But you know what? We got to begin somewhere. You got to allow her to start there. Because we can only perfect things. Let's avoid this idea of perfectionists. Let's avoid this idea that the child doesn't know. Yes, she doesn't know how to cook. It's true. But where is she going to learn other than from her own home, from her own parents? Oh no, the unga is going to be destroyed. So how much? So if you take your values, so you'd rather save the unga and destroy your child? You'd rather save the soap and destroy your child? Parents, we need to appreciate that possibly our children are much more than the soap and the unga. And when we do that, I can tell you, this problem we have of kids staying in the home for too long might be lessened. Because once they're sure they have succeeded before by cleaning their shoes, that is something they have taken. It's a positive win. It's a win. It has built their ego. They have cooked ugali, it has built their ego. So eventually they're able to be able to boost their self-esteem. Because to have a positive self-esteem, you don't have to fly to the moon. Actually, cleaning a shoe and your parents are happy about it, it's a plus. It's as much as somebody going to the moon and coming back for this child. So you may consider those chores as minor, but I want to tell you, in the world of the child, there are milestones. Remember, this child has never cleaned a shoe before. So when you allow them to clean a shoe and it's clean, tell you what, dear parent, that child is walking on the sky. Can we begin to give them more opportunities to wash your car, to clean their shorts? And every time they're doing that, let's be open. Not really to criticize, but rather to say, where things are not right, can we do this? And be there, lead by example. Don't be just a parent who talks and says this is not good. The best way to parent is to demonstrate. The best way kids learn is when they see what we do. Kids do not learn by listening to what we say. They learn most and better by watching us. Even as we ourselves as adults struggle, they learn the essence of struggle. They learn things don't come easy, and they harden even at that tender age. So I hope this story has in some way contributed and helped you to begin to appreciate that, especially if you have those small kids today in your house, take advantage of this opportunity, because it's just in a short while those kids will be out of the home. And these opportunities will be lost, not once, not for a month, but forever. So take the opportunity, grab it now, because you can. And let's not just be good parents. Let's be responsible parents who allows our children to take responsibility by doing sensible things, by cleaning their own clothes, by managing their time, and the list can go on and on. But most importantly, let's begin to enjoy this company, because it's in a very short while, you look around and there will be no more kids there. So, can we say we're going to take it? Thank you so much for listening. Let's meet at the other side of this video. Again, asante sana.